Well, Mike Arnold Jr., shout out to my father, Mike Arnold Sr.
The legend himself.
Yes, but he said if things don't work out with us, he told my mama this, I'm not going to stop being a father to my kids. And that played a powerful role to me in understanding that, we got to be fathers, we got to be men, be fathers. And with Christian hip hop, y'all know this, is that you're kind of in between. You're not hard enough for secular, and then you're
too hard for the church.
And you're too hard. The Lord just dropped this thing in my spirit about Soul Factory, and that we could have a place for hip hop, Christian hip hop for kids and for people in general. And so it took off, man.
Because the first time I meet Lecrae, he's talking about how, man, I used to listen to this, The Other Side mixtape.
Y'all to another episode of the Presidential Executive. What's going on? It's your boy right here, JB. This is my brother over here, El Presidente, Rag. What it do, my guy?
What's going on, brother?
We got the midnight oil going, man. And before we start, y'all go ahead and like this video right now. We're wherever that you stream podcasts. I'm not going to go down the line, but wherever you stream, we will be.
You gotta go down the line. I got you, man.
You got me. Go ahead.
Man,
go
we're
ahead.
on Spotify. We're on iHeartRadio. We're on YouTube Podcasts. We're on Apple, Amazon, and Stitcher.
Okay.
We in there.
Now, you're the professional at doing the intros, right? And so this OG right here, hopefully you saw the live that we saw just put out. This will be out later on, but you can do it proper.
Okay, so the gentleman that we have privileged to be doing our fireside chat with.
What'd you say?
Fireside chat.
Fireside chat.
Fireside chat. He is a friend not just of the show, because we talked to him. I want to say like in season 2, I think. Mm-hmm. And that we're in season 5, so he's supposed to have been. This is a long time.
Long overdue. Overdue. What I told him before.
But he's a friend of both of ours. Been a mentor to both of us. He's a social activist. He's a father, a husband. He has been active throughout the city and the United States and just working with young people. He has been a pastor, a youth pastor. He's worked with several ministries throughout the city. A lot of people don't know he was a high school and college football player.
Yeah. I'm ready to hear about it.
He is a public speaker. He is working on some other things that he will tell you about, but he's also been a hip-hop manager, promoter. If it's money to be made, if it's work to be done, he has been about that life. He has done it, man. We have the privilege and the pleasure of the one and only. We know him as Pastor Mike, but y'all can call him either Brother Mike or just Mike Arnold. Welcome to the show, Mike.
Thank you, man.
Yes, sir.
Much
yes,
love
sir.
to you both, man. It's an
Yeah.
honor to be here.
Yeah.
Honor to be here, man, for sure.
Yeah. Now, this is kind of like a different situation. We still want to have a free flow conversation, right? Okay. But we want to know more about you, right? Because some of the things we even mentioned on the rundown we had, I didn't even know.
Okay.
About, the college ball and football and all that stuff.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But just a rundown of who you are, where you're from, all the skin, and then we'll get into the context later on.
Okay. Well, Mike Arnold Jr., shout out to my father, Mike Arnold Sr.
The legend himself.
Yes.
Salute.
I'm the copy. Definitely honored to be here. Had the privilege to be in this city for 53 years. I'm 53 years young.
Yeah.
I'm married with 4 children, 2 adult sons and 2 teenage daughters. I'm married to the lovely Sherelle Arnold, who you all know, and
shout out to Sherelle.
North
Very
Memphis
sweet.
strong.
Oh yeah.
Ooh.
And blessed to be my partner in crime and in time, most importantly, for 25 years. So we've been married for 25 years. For me, been blessed to grow up here in Memphis, originally from a little small town in West Virginia, Fairmont, West Virginia.
Okay.
Which that's why I became a Steeler fan, actually, because it's only about an hour away from Pittsburgh.
Oh, I'm
So
putting the
that's-
pieces together.
Yeah,
I didn't.
so,
Okay.
yeah,
Okay.
So that's a little tidbit.
Okay.
So my father was a huge Steeler fan.
Okay.
And so of course that was passed on to me.
Yeah.
And so grow up. If you go there, they're the land of. Here's a quick fact that the whole pepperoni rolls that you hear about pizza started in my city, the little town I was was born in, and
Word, okay.
also Mary Lou Retton, if you ever heard of Mary Lou Retton.
the gymnast.
And here's one that you would appreciate as a football player, guys, is that Nick Saban and I were born in the same hospital.
Oh, okay.
For
Not
real.
the same time.
Right.
Much older.
Same hospital.
Same hospital, but from the same area. So that's a little bit about where I grew up. But my dad got a job here in Memphis, and we moved to Memphis where I was young. So Memphis is home for me. So I'm 901, man,
Right.
all the way through.
Yeah, no
so,
doubt.
On that end. So yeah, so I'm excited about being here and just to be able to share my story a little bit.
That's crazy. I did not know that the West Virginia, like, because honestly, being a Cowboy fan, a Steeler fan, you don't have to be from anywhere.
Yeah.
Right.
You can really be,
You know
what I'm
my
saying?
dad was a Steelers fan growing
Yeah.
up.
Right.
Yeah.
But I did not know.
Yeah.
But that connection is, I see it.
Yep. So
I
that's
see
where
it.
it came from. So that's where it started for me.
Okay.
Okay. You talk a lot about your dad, and again, we say a lot of times, rest in heaven, rest in peace. Like,
Yeah.
it's gonna sound weird, but like they're looking down here at us, and they really are in their perfect bodies, no sickness, no illness.
Come on.
We just trying to get up there so we can be enjoying it like them.
Man,
Yeah.
what?
But they ain't worried about nothing that we got going on
At all.
down here. And I'm happy
Right.
that
At all.
every illness, every sickness is
Amen.
gone. But he was definitely a legend. Definitely spoke some positive things in my life. Talk about what it was like, that foundation. Because obviously you knew him your whole life, but like
Right.
just from the time I met him, like he was just that guy, like
Yeah.
always a faith guy,
Yeah.
real positive.
Yeah.
But like talk about what it was like growing up.
Yeah, man. Grew up in Fraser.
Okay.
Have the opportunity to, as we talked earlier in the other broadcast that we did, of having a father in the home.
Mm-hmm.
That was critical for me. My dad was kind of a mixture of Bill Cosby, Heathcliff Huxtable,
Okay.
and what's my guy, James
James Evans. That's what I was about to say.
James
Evans. Yeah.
So he didn't
Yeah.
play, but he loved us. We grew up in an era where you got whoopings.
Right, yeah.
You didn't play.
At
I
all.
mean, it was just one of those things. If you got in trouble, you got. But it didn't take too many for me. But most importantly, he was loving, and he showed compassion not only to me and my sister. Shout out to my sister Roz Arnold, because I think Martin. Excuse me, Roz
right.
Martin. Now, I think she's going to be watching as well. But we just grew up, man, just loving God and seeing that example, but also feeling a responsibility to be able to love other people outside, because it was just two of us.
Right.
And so I had a lot of play brothers and sisters
Right.
and cousins, like a lot of black folks,
Right.
growing up. And so very grateful for his influence. And I'll say it like this, it was important for him because he didn't grow up with the father.
Okay.
He had uncles,
Yeah.
but he didn't grow up with the father. And so he made a point, and he made my mom and dad were almost married 50 years until he passed away back in 2018.
Wow.
But they were together since they were 18, so it was like 52 years. They got married at 20. But he said if things don't work out with us, he told my mama this, I'm not going to stop being a father to my kids. And that played a powerful role to me in understanding that, we got to be fathers and we got to be men regardless. And that had a lasting impact. And he always, like you said, always, especially with men and young men, was always about mentoring, always trying to encourage, because he wanted to give to them what wasn't given to him, which was very powerful.
Wow.
Go ahead.
No, I was saying that's interesting because, if your dad didn't really have a dad, so now, probably he had a yearning or something, but just that desire, you know what I'm saying, to be, what he necessarily didn't have. And so okay. So now I'm putting everything together, like the mentorship stuff, and just everything that you're passionate about.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Really steals back from, your pops, not having what he had and then being what he was to you. And then that oil just continue to flow on down. And
one of the things that was powerful, and I do want to say this, is that he didn't have a father, but he had two uncles.
Yep.
And they were twins, as a matter of fact. And Sam and Charles Watson, Shout out to them because they taught my dad everything that he knew about work ethic. He got his first job when he was like 12 years old as a janitor. You know what I'm saying? Working, going to school, all those things. And that work ethic was passed on to me and to us, you know, and our family, which was important, you know, during that time. So I got to give a shout out to them.
Right.
And,
No
and
doubt.
I'm tripping because that you said that because, like, you know, and I don't know about your pops, but, like, my dad was the same. Like, dad wasn't, you know, there. And the crazy thing is he didn't live that far. You know what I'm saying? But, like, had a whole nother family, you know, and everything like that. But my dad had, you know, his uncles and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And like I said, man, when I think about your dad, the same thing with your pops. Like I always talk about the handshake.
Oh,
man,
yeah.
like they had like the biggest hands,
Come
man.
on, man.
And they do the hand, but then when they would give you the handshake, but then they would pull you in.
That's
Yeah.
right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And
Give
like
you that
it was
grip.
always
Yes,
That
sir.
big
something.
whole
That's right.
grip.
You
That's
know what I'm
right.
saying? And it's
Yeah.
crazy because
That's
Yeah.
real.
That's right.
your dad would always say to me, JB, he'd always be like, you know, Roche, my boy,
Yeah.
good to see you.
That's right.
Hey man, I love you.
Yeah.
And it was
Yeah.
your dad would say something similar. And he's
Yeah.
like, every time he sees me, Roche, what's up, my boy?
Yeah.
I'm so glad to see you, man.
Yeah.
Every time I see you, man, I get and I just remember that. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
they both made an impact to me
Yeah,
because
without a doubt.
you know I didn't necessarily need the validation because I had that.
Right, right.
But it was good that other strong men recognized
Come on. Absolutely.
what was in me and was able to speak.
Absolutely.
So even when, because you know sometimes, and y'all, you know this being a dad, you know this being a dad, you could tell your son something 100 times, and then his coach said, and you be like, "Nigga, I just told you that." You know what I'm saying? But,
Right.
But it's like, so you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Somebody said the
Yeah.
exact same thing, and it was the same. Like my dad could tell me stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like your pop say something, your dad say something,
Or he
and
said,
it'd be the same, right? Or you
Yeah.
would say it,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and you would say the same thing that my dad said,
Yeah.
and it's like.
Yeah.
You know, so I'm appreciative of that, and it makes so much sense now because, so speak on you growing up in Fraser. What was Fraser like? So we talking about what, late 70s, early 80s?
Yeah, 70s. We moved to Memphis in 72, 3, and we moved. We were actually in North Memphis. Now, it's a quick story about North Memphis. We stayed in these apartments on Jackson, and guess who was, you'll never believe this, and you would appreciate this as a wrestling fan. Guess who stayed below us in the apartments?
Jerry Lawler.
Jerry
Jerry Lawler?
Jerry Lawler.
Wow.
And that's how I found out the wrestling was fake.
Okay.
Because the same guys that were fighting were the same guys out front hanging out
Right.
before
Right.
the match or
Yeah.
whatever. So,
That's
yeah,
wild.
Jerry Lawler, man.
Jerry, wow.
Yeah, the king.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, now to answer what you were saying, my pops, he grew up with his pops, but my granddad was like, he was pretty much kind of hands off, right? My dad don't remember my granddad like hugging him
Yeah.
or really saying he loved him
Yeah,
or
right,
anything
right,
like that,
right.
right? And so in return, that made my dad kind of more aware of that and, you know, telling us that he loved us and you know what I'm saying? And so
Yeah.
to what you were saying,
Yeah.
how your pops kind of grew up,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying, built the layers to how he would, you know what I'm saying,
Yeah.
raise his kids. And so same thing with my dad, like he would
Yeah.
all the time, wherever we go out of town for a tennis tournament or whatever,
Yeah.
you know, I love you and remember whose you are.
Yeah.
Like that was always his
Yeah.
thing. And so hugging and
Yep.
and all that stuff. And so yeah.
That's
Yep.
it.
Yep.
And so growing up in Fraser, it was a different time, man. Actually, I had white neighbors
Okay.
in Fraser.
I was about to say it was a different Fraser.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask you, but he
It was,
jumped
a
right
different-
in.
it was
Yeah.
white neighbors. In fact, it was funny. We were like the second black family to move into our community there, and that's when the signs started.
What part of Fraser?
What would that be? Mountain Terrace, Hawkins Mill, not too far from what is now considered Ridge Grove in that area.
Okay.
Not too far from Hawkins Mill Elementary School, if you know where that is in Fraser.
Okay.
On Mountain Terrace. So we stayed there. I went to Hawkins Mill for a few years in Delano and then went to Snowden and Central and all that. But growing up in Fraser, I can remember we had our own skating rink, movie theater that was there. You didn't have to go anywhere. It was kind of skating, all those type of things that were all encompassing. But that was a result of you had a lot of industry there because you had International Harvester, Kimberly Clark,
Right,
Firestone, all of that at that time. So it was definitely a different
And
time.
so that movie theater that wasn't the drive-in, was it?
No, I forgot
'Cause,
about the drive-in.
Yeah, when we first moved back, the drive-in was still in.
So yeah, the drive-in. But then, if you know where Kroger is in Fraser, that wig place that's on the other side in that same shopping center, that's right like on the side of Kroger, that's where the movie theater used to be.
That's crazy. I didn't know Fraser had a
Pool hall.
movie theater.
Yep, it was the Fraser 3.
Right.
And that was the place where teens could go hang out.
So that's what. So because when we first moved back, so it used to be. I don't know if you remember the Raleigh 6.
Yeah, of course.
So like all the night they have numbers on them.
Yep, that was it.
So I didn't know it was a Fraser 3 because the only
Wow.
movie theater in Fraser when we moved back was the drive-in.
Yep, sure was. I forgot about that. Yeah.
Yeah, the drive-in was still there, but the actual, but like the Raleigh 6 was still up in Raleigh.
Yeah, remember the Raleigh 6? Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's crazy because it seemed now, I know back in the 70s, because I know now when you look at the housing out there at Fraser, like the houses and stuff like that, you knew it used to be a real good community.
Oh yeah.
You know, but then it's like it probably went from Fraser, then Raleigh started to build up.
Yep.
So it just kind of feel and stuff like that. I hate to see that because you know what I mean. It was like, it's almost seemed like we run it down. You know what I'm saying? As far as us, which that's going to a whole nother conversation.
Sure.
But I didn't know Fraser had a movie theater like that.
Yeah.
I didn't know.
I mean, just everything, swimming pool. I mean, it, all encompassing. You didn't have to go anywhere.
Yeah.
It was really a sense of community because you had all those different amenities, and Raleigh was the same way. In terms of that as well. So
when did Fraser start to kind of turn? Did you think?
Man, I would say Fraser really turned probably, honestly, starting in the 90s, man.
Okay, that late.
Yeah,
Okay.
starting in the 90s because actually what happened, you started seeing gentrification taking place and you started seeing vouchers and things of that nature where people
Yeah,
having
because I was going to ask
opportunity.
you which project got tore down.
Right.
Right. Yeah. Right.
So you had an influx of people coming in. Same thing with Raleigh. You start having people coming in and unfortunately not being taught how to take care of your stuff and keeping your property value up because it's crazy, man. You see the cycle, and it's not just Memphis, but anywhere that, when you see gentrification take place, people come back into the city and they buy our property and things at dirt cheap. And you see that same cycle over and over again. And so
we can't afford to stay in the neighborhood no more.
Right.
Yep.
Right. Exactly.
Because I was going to say, because now I remember, and this is kind of jumping ahead, but we were 1 year we were giving out turkeys or clothes or something out in was it Lamar Terrace?
Probably.
And then it was a few months later they ended up tearing
Oh yeah.
Lamar Terrace down. But I remember because we were out there and we were giving away like turkeys and clothes and stuff like that. I can't remember if it was Thanksgiving or Christmas.
Yeah.
But then all those people, I want to say they sent them out to like Hickory Hill.
Yeah.
And that's kind of when Hickory Hill started to
Oh
go.
man, yeah.
And it became Hickory Hood because, like you said, the vouchers, they got to send them somewhere. But I want to say, I can't remember if it was Lemoyne Garden or
Probably.
somewhere out there. They tore it down.
Yeah.
And then everybody started moving out to Fraser. And
Yeah.
then went from Fraser to Raleigh. And then that's when you started to see.
Yeah.
Because like we left South Memphis going to Raleigh.
Yeah.
Thinking that, okay. And I want to say y'all was probably in the
Moving
time.
on up. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right, and then we coming around, and as soon as we moved to Raleigh, it's like the same niggas we just left. Right back here.
Facts, though.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because I can think of some kids, families that moved when I was at Streets, that moved to Raleigh and was moved to Northern Hills and all over there. And I was like, how you get it here?
Right,
What are you doing on this side of town? And they ain't gotten a voucher to
And I want to say, now some places,
That's
I
crazy.
know you probably seen it, but some places in Fraser you can still see. It's still like the old,
Yeah.
like the houses.
Yeah.
on
Oh,
this
yep.
and-
Yep.
Man, look,
Right.
I'm
Yep.
going to tell you because you had people who were making really good money working at those different companies.
Right.
And so you can look at those homes and you can see, they were brick homes. They had a certain square footage and
Yeah.
style and all of that. But, like I said, what we're saying is that when the community changes and you have a certain segment, unfortunately, that hadn't been taught or how to keep up their stuff, and that's what we run into.
Ooh, let's go into a now. Getting back on the track. So you grew up in Fraser. You went to high school.
I went to middle school, to Snowden, and went to Central High School for high school.
Okay, so you was in high school.
The
went to
Central High
Central.
Well, you said it.
No, I mean, I'm just saying every time you talk to people from Central, they say the Central High School.
Well, I mean, y'all
Like
said
the
it.
Ohio State.
I'm not saying it, but
When we was in high school, Central was known for having the baddies, right?
well, that was always.
It was always like that.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah,
It really
yeah.
was.
Like Central was like,
Yeah.
if
Yeah,
you had
for
a
real.
girlfriend or
Right,
something
yeah,
that,
if you say
that
your
you
girl
went to
was
Central,
it was like
it was like,
true.
right.
Yeah.
But no,
Yeah.
it was just like when we was growing up. Like if people would come to Raleigh from other places,
Right.
It's like
Yeah,
they
yeah,
come
yeah.
to Raleigh. Oh man, my girlfriend live in Raleigh. It's like, oh,
Yeah.
they
Right.
came up.
Yep. Okay.
Yeah, that's
so
true.
you went to Central. So now sports, athletics.
Yeah.
What was going on with that?
So played a little football at Central and in middle school too, and was fortunate enough to play for a few years. We were pretty decent, and was able to go play a little bit of college ball at Liberty University in Virginia.
Liberty. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
so I played there for a year, and actually was in a car accident.
Okay.
By the grace of God, I was literally hit by a car, but I was able to move just enough out of the way where it didn't run over me. And
Like physically, were you in the car?
No, I was outside
was
of the
out.
car. Yeah.
Okay.
Quick story. Me and some of the guys, we were coming for football practice, and another guy was picking us up. And we were just, we 18, playing around, messing around. And there was a car behind us, and they didn't have any patience for us to get in the car. So the guy came around and sideswiped us.
Yeah.
And I moved out of the way just enough where I got hit by the mirror and of the car, as opposed to I got out of the way so I wouldn't get, ran over. But it's by the grace of God. So anyway, played there, enjoyed it. I played for a quick story. Sam Rutigliano was a coach for the Cleveland Browns back in the late 70s, early 80s. He took his team to the one game from the Super Bowl. They lost to the Eagles, not the Eagles. Yeah, was it the Eagles? I can't remember. They lost to the Raiders, excuse me. The Raiders, this was like 81. So
Okay.
kind of you guys before you all, it's time a little bit.
But the Raiders were booming then. though.
Yeah, so they
In
were
the early
booming.
'80s. Yeah.
But played for him for a season, learned a lot from him in that one season, and got hurt, like I said, playing. So came on back to Memphis and went to school. I was the last class of Memphis State University.
Word. Before
Yeah.
they switched to.
They switched to 94. I graduated in 93. And so got a chance to get my degree, but I enjoyed my time there. Got a chance to see Penny Hardaway play.
The GOAT.
MSU
Yeah.
Hardaway
Yeah.
was definitely the GOAT for sure.
Yeah, definitely.
Even the high school GOAT for sure.
yep.
Just incredible.
Treadwell.
Oh my gosh. Still to this day, greatest player to ever come out of Memphis.
Yeah.
Love Keith. I love you, Keith.
I was gonna say from Memphis.
Yeah, because
Yeah,
Keith
no,
is from
Keith
from
from
West
Arkansas.
He over
Yeah.
over the bridge.
Yeah,
Over
nah,
the bridge.
but I was
I
gonna
love
say
it.
now,
I love Keith.
I'm
You
kind
know,
of partial.
Keith is my
Yeah,
guy. Keith is my guy for sure.
Let's keep it a buck though.
Yeah.
It's today. I go on YouTube and look at old Penny highlights.
Yeah.
Right.
It's still captivating. Like he was ahead of his time.
Without a doubt.
Even in high school, you see the stuff he was doing in high school, the passes, how he would
Ridiculous.
glide the floor. Like it's nothing like him.
I would just say I'm partial to Keith because like Keith got receipts on like Hall of Famers.
For sure.
Like
no
when
doubt.
Memphis played Georgetown,
Patrick Ewing.
like Ewing couldn't do
Yeah,
nothing because
yeah.
he
Wayman
would take him on the
Tisdale.
outside and
Yeah.
like
Wayman
he
Tisdale.
was, he was a stretch four
Yeah.
when that wasn't a thing.
Keith,
Yeah.
Keith
see
had
what I'm
such
saying?
an offensive game that
did.
was just
And he could
beyond his
dribble.
time. Yeah.
He was ahead of his
You know, it's
time.
like
Yeah.
Wayman Tisdale, Hakeem
yeah.
a lot, man. He gave
He
them
ate 'em.
folks fits.
Ate him
did.
up.
So that's the only reason. And he was
Yeah.
a 4-year All-American. But now
Yeah.
being a Memphis product, then
Yes.
I
Yeah.
definitely got to confer.
Without a
yeah,
doubt.
it's definitely
without a
Penny being
doubt.
from Memphis.
Without a doubt.
Definitely.
And so enjoyed my time there, University of Memphis, Memphis State. Learned a lot in terms of that, and just really started matriculating. Lord, what do you want to do with my life? What is it that I want to do? I always had a heart. I thought I was going to coach, actually. That's what I want to do because I played sports. But tried that for a little bit. I don't know if I want to do this because it's very
Right.
time consuming.
Yeah.
And I like watching it, talking about it and all of that. But I respect those coaches, love coaching, from that standpoint. So,
And on the front end, it don't pay jack.
Oh no, not at all. It's definitely not at all.
Yeah,
Not at all.
That it got me because they were trying to get me. I played tennis up at TSU. They were trying to get me to be the coach up there. Probably
Really?
Yeah, probably like it was 2011, 2012.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah, but it was at the time like I had a real good job.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
And they told me what they were offering.
Yeah.
But again, to what you were saying, like it has to be more than that.
Yeah.
But then also it's the bottom line, you know what I'm
Right.
saying, as well, because at the time I didn't have the family that I have now.
Right.
But, you taking a 30, 40,000
Yeah.
pay cut,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying, is
There
different.
ain't no guarantee you're going to get up to where
Right.
you at.
Yeah.
And I've got guys, homeboys that I who are coaches now, and they talk about they enjoyed it, but the time spent away, JB, from their family, has really been challenging for them. And so, those are things I had to look at, man.
Yeah.
So now, when you were at Central, was Coach Adams the basketball coach?
He was, yes, my first year, yes,
so
he was.
Jimmy?
Yeah, that was
Oh
my
no,
coach.
no,
in
not
high
that coach. Yeah, Coach Adams. No, he had left. He went to he was at Memphis State. I was thinking about another coach.
Okay,
but that wasn't
because
Coach
I want to say when they won state in basketball.
Yeah, it was Coach
the
Adams.
basketball
Yeah.
coach.
Yeah.
Jimmy, I didn't know he was over at Central.
And do you remember
I didn't know that.
Kevin Baker?
Kevin Baker.
Okay, well his brother played for Coach Adams.
Yeah.
Brian played for Coach Adams.
Brian, Big B.
Yeah. He was. I want to say, was he the center?
Something
When
like
they
that.
won state, but
a little bit before my time.
Kevin Baker about what 6'5".
Yeah,
he
6'6".
tall too. Yeah, him and his brother both.
Shout out to KB.
Man,
my boy.
KB, that dude.
No, I didn't know Jimmy Adams.
Yeah, he was because that's actually how he became Finch's assistant. They won state.
Yeah,
when he was at Central, and
I think
Finch
back
got
to
him.
back, didn't they, or
Yeah,
something
and then
like
Finch
that?
got him as one of his assistants.
Okay.
Yeah, they had a squad, from my
And
understanding.
he had the Ric Flair hair then.
Yeah, he did. He sure did.
Cool cat.
Yes, he was.
Now
Is.
going into that, you was mentioning kind of like the faith aspect of it. I guess you say you were kind of inquiring, kind of like where you wanted to, be or where you wanted to go.
Yeah.
How old were you probably at that time when you were thinking that?
Oh man, I came back home from Virginia, from Liberty, and got my degree. Started working at FedEx at night.
Of course.
Right, everybody do the
Club
FedEx
Fed.
thing. Come on, man, get them benefits.
Get them-
Pay for my braces. Pay for this smile. Like that.
Right.
And
Everybody did a bit
right,
fed.
man, for real. But just not satisfied there, man. Had an opportunity. Y'all know they try to get you into management and all that.
Yeah, I went
And,
through that.
and it's like I'm seeing people have ulcers and all that kind of stuff.
Right.
But actually, man, my young life leader, lady by the name of Rita Hayes, who actually introduced me to my wife at the time, was praying for me. What do you want to do with your life? What is it that you want to do? And just feeling that I wanted to make a difference in the lives of young people. Now, to go back a little bit, my parents were always involved with young people. My mom and my dad, and shout out to my mama too, Miss Oretha.
Stay up the street from me.
Yeah, she sure does.
That's right, you did say that.
But saw the importance of just working with young people and seeing the passion that she had. It just kind of, and my parents, it kind of permeated to me. And so I felt like, hey, I would like to work with young people, but I just didn't know. And so Rita began to pray with me, and pray for me. Would you be interested in, coming on with Young Life and as a volunteer?
Right.
Right.
Because nonprofit church work
Strictly as a volunteer.
it's all volunteer and voluntold. So
Right.
in terms of that, and so that was like the early '90s, and so got the opportunity to volunteer. And really got the bug, man. Started working kids in North Memphis, Orange Mound, over there where your friend is now. And
Right.
and Melrose and North Side and all of that.
Yeah.
And just caught it, man. And so, but the problem was I needed to make some money.
Right.
Couldn't be
Right.
working at FedEx at night and doing that during the day. And man, just began to pray. And so, man, I met a guy by the name of Ken Bennett, Streets Ministry. And shout out to Ken Bennett, of course, a legend in this city. And he offered me a job at Streets Ministries. That was 1996. And got involved there. And, of course, at the same time, met Shay and you guys around that time at Breath of Life Christian Center. And started working with Streets and with Ed Slaughter and
Yeah.
all
Ed
that.
Slaughter.
Pastor Slaughter.
Slaughter.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
you know what was funny about that? He saw the work because we were doing a lot.
Yeah.
We were doing stuff at Streets, then we was doing stuff at Breath of Life, Promised Generation.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And I remember he told me, he said, man, you know, we working and doing stuff, doing outreach, all that kind of stuff, and he said, man, I'm leaving. I said, where are you going?
Right.
He said, I'm going back home.
Yeah.
And but he said, you need to prayerfully consider. I would like to see you maybe come and be the youth pastor here. And I was like, absolutely not. I just wanted to be out in the hood, be working with kids and doing things of that nature. But I just prayed about it and, you know, just had a peace about it, you know, of coming back to the community where I live to work with the youth in Memphis.
So 2 funny stories, and you jumped way ahead because you skipped over a very important part of your life.
Okay.
But so like when you
Help
talked
me out.
about Ken Bennett, it's funny because when I got with with your boy,
the gentleman.
initially I met Reggie Davis,
Okay, yeah.
and so he was going to hire me for Streets.
Really?
So I did the interview. I mean, they was like, and I did the interview, and everybody was like, "Cool." So and he's like, "I'm not supposed to be telling you this." He was like, "We got to interview like 3 more people, but that's just a formality."
Right.
He's like, "You got it." So I go in the Streets, and they're like, "The guy who runs Streets is here, and he wants to see you." And I'm like, he says he knows you, and I'm like, I don't know who this guy is.
Yeah.
And so he comes out, this older white guy. He comes running out, and he's looking around, and I'm like, where you are? He's just looking.
Yeah.
And I'm like, who is he looking for? And then so he tells him, I thought y'all said Roche Ragland was out here. I was like, oh, I'm Roche. And he was like, oh, he said, is your dad named Roche? I was like,
That's who he's looking for.
He said, yeah. He's like, oh.
Yeah.
He said, man. He said, I played high school basketball with your dad.
Get your dad. That's right.
He was like, man, your dad was amazing. He was like, I didn't play very much, but I was on the team when he said. So then, when I got in ministry, he's like, your dad was already in ministry. He's like, he was amazing in that too.
Yeah.
He's like, I love your dad. He's like, so then it was pretty much like, oh, I'm in there. You know what I'm saying? Like,
wow.
Yeah, but so it was just funny
nice.
that you talked about because that connection. But then also, I want to go back because you said, well, no, and then the Slaughter thing, like, we already knew when y'all used to come over there with Streets and, like, Miss Sherelle would be over there with y'all. Y'all didn't notice we had shipped y'all together already. We was like, man, look at them. They look like they go together. And y'all wasn't even, like, y'all was just cool. Right. Like, man, they go together. Right. And then when y'all was like, they go together, we like, see, we knew. And it'd be like me, DJ, Eric, Will McGee. We all like, hey, they go together like this.
Wow.
That's
but
funny.
then when Slaughter was, because of course he told you, he didn't tell a lot of people.
Right.
But I was extremely close to him, and he had told me, like, you know, I need you to help.
Yeah.
You know, the next person, like, what you help the next person? Now, what you talking about?
Right.
Where you going? You ain't going nowhere. You're going to be here forever.
Right.
And he's like, nah. He's like, man, I'm going back. And he said the same. He's like, I'm going back home. Like, why would you do that? Like,
Right.
And so, but he was like, and I don't know if I don't know what the timeline is, but he said it's going to be Mike.
Okay.
And it was crazy because you was kind of like, you was like his unofficial right hand, but he had other guys that were there that was working.
Right.
You know, like Rod Loggins
Right.
and Terrence Fields and James Fields and
James.
Terrence Burton and
they
they were all working close to him, but you were like close, but you were on the outside.
Right.
But he was like, it's gonna be Mike, and I'm like, Mike with Streets. Like, why would he? You know what I'm saying? Why would he do that?
Right.
But it's crazy that you say that because he was like, it's gonna be Mike. It's like, you know. Y'all gotta make sure, you know, y'all got the same thing we put in y'all gotta help out and be there. And so when it came, like, it was a surprise to a lot of people, but you know, he had already had this conversation with me maybe like 9 months before. Yeah. Like, that's how you know what I'm saying? Like, early it was. And so, like, I wasn't shocked. Yeah. But a lot of people was like, Mike, you know, why not this person? Why not that person? But it was like, well, Slaughter saw something. Yeah. But you skipped over 2 things. Number one, you skipped over, and we kind of alluded this in the live. And she's probably not ever going to come over here to tell her story. But talk about because we didn't know how good Roz was hooping.
Oh wow, yeah.
So
yeah.
you got to talk about that, but then
Yes.
also you skipped over your managerial duties.
Okay,
So yeah,
I did skip. Okay,
so go talk about Roz
Okay, I
first.
start with Roz. Yes, got to give a shout out to my baby sis, Roz Martin, Rosalind Arnold at the time. Roz was a really good girls basketball player. She wasn't the most athletic, but she was efficient and she knew the game. And many times I did have a chance to kind of help her and coach her when she was really young. So she started playing ball at a young age. Little Flower, I was actually, me and my dad were her first coaches at Little Flower over there in North Memphis. And she loved the game. And so she kept playing and played in middle school and got really good in middle school. Coach Gus Taylor really helped her and a couple of other girls just really develop. And they won. They won a lot. And so she really did well. And then I thought she was going to come to Central, but she kind of wanted to have her own and have her own name, and I supported that. You know, you don't want to be the little sister kind of thing. And,
I hear you.
You know, and so she ended up going to East, which was a great move for her. And man, she those girls had some legendary teams, man.
Did she have a record for something?
Yes, so she had a record up until last year. We were talking about this the other day, as a matter of fact.
Was it an assist or something?
She's with assists, but also the most free throws in a game. Because we would talk about being the importance of drawing the foul. Right. And so in the girls' game, you make sure you go follow through, at least showing that you're getting fouled. And so she really mastered that. And she did really well, her and her friend Quanisha Hunt at the time, Jeremy Hunt's sister, as a matter of fact. They were a really tough duo. And, man, she played well her senior year. She made All-City her junior year and was nominated for one of the Players of the Year her junior year. Her senior year in a Christmas tournament, she partially tore her ACL. And in those days they didn't really have the surgery, so it was really, and we didn't want to do surgery, so she ended up doing rehab and ended up, man, still coming back, and they ended up still making. They were one game from the state and lost to like Millington or something like that, but heck of a ball player, without the best hooper in our family, without question.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, now I knew about her. Well, I heard about it at least. Cause I see her sometimes post pictures.
Yeah.
I think she posted a picture the other day of her middle school coach.
Yeah.
I think the other day or something she
Coach
saw
Taylor.
Coach Taylor. And so I saw the stuff that she posted, some pictures, something like that. Yeah. So I've heard about it. Yeah. Or seen it.
And she's so humble with it, but she
is.
She still has. She's in the top 3 in a lot of categories as a point guard, in the States.
And so, and that just gave a lot of stuff, and we would be playing back in the day, and she'd be critiquing. I'm like, what you talking about? But she was more qualified.
Right. And what's funny, she's coaching now, so she's coaching this year. She works for FACS. Okay. So she's getting into the game. So we'll see. I'm gonna have to check her out. And my nephew as well is playing for FACS.
Okay. Yep. And so now, the part that you skipped over, because this is actually my initial introduction to you.
Yeah.
And we had one of our mentors. We definitely, and the brother of another one of my mentors on here. So we had Jeremy Sanders, who of course is the brother of K. Rio, Corey.
Yes.
And again, shout out to y'all. We praying for y'all
much love
still,
to you guys, man.
No doubt.
Because their mom was also, when I was going through PTTI, she was my speech teacher. You know what I'm saying?
Miss Teresa
so
didn't play.
She the public speaking thing. Yeah, Miss Teresa did not play. But then we also had DJ Black, Aqua Black, Reggie Hines on here. And so they was a duo, but it was more like a trio because DJ Bo was like the Jam Master J. Right. They run DMC. Right. And we definitely got to get him on here.
Yes, but you do. Yes.
Y'all really was a quartet. You know what I'm saying? Because you were like the Russell Simmons without all the scandals. You were like the Russell Simmons of their Run DMC type situation.
Yeah.
Because I remember you even had an interview you did. I forget what the channel was, but you did the interview. You had the blue suit on.
Oh,
you had the fade.
Oh my God!
But you were doing the interview and you were talking about One Accord and what they were doing. Yeah. And a lot of people don't know this, but as far as the gospel rap scene, I don't care what nobody. And I said this when Black was on here. I said this when Fro was on here. That was the first group out of here that was doing that. One Accord was the first group out of here doing it. Like I said, the reason why I felt like I could do that because I was doing secular, that I knew my folks wouldn't let me do secular, but I knew I could do gospel because I had a chance to see. And I know them, like I know K-Real, I know Black, I know DJ Bo, and then, you know, I met you. So, like, talk about how did y'all get linked up?
Man, oh, wow. So, started going to Breath of Life.
Okay.
And to kind of give you a backstory real quick, I was involved with gospel rap or Christian hip-hop back in the 80s.
Your classmates.
Yeah, and so knew about that. Went to college, actually, with... couple of groups. One you may never heard of is called Transformation Crusade. They were, you know, kind of like the Run DMC for real. They were on the album with Fred and Commission with King of Glory, if you remember that song.
The two dudes
they're rapping. That's them. I went to school with them at Liberty. So
I still know they rap by heart.
Yeah. And so I got exposed to that back in high school and then college. And so I had a love for Christian hip hop, right, from that standpoint. And so when I got to Memphis and came back, that was a tool that we tried to use during that time to reach young people, you know, because, you know, we couldn't play some of the secular stuff that was out there. So we were trying to give an alternative. And so that really began to grow. And I actually started a concert series called the Holy Hip Hop Jam that we did for a couple of years that matriculated eventually to Soul Factory, which I know we'll talk about. But I met Corey and Reggie through Breath of Life, you know, connecting with the youth ministry. And I'll never forget, we were at a Helps Ministry banquet, and I knew Bo. We used to go to church together years ago. So our families literally grew up together. And so I'll never forget, we were at Helps Ministry banquet, and Corey asked me would I consider being their manager. And I had never managed anything. You know, I was like, who, you want me to do it? But it was, I guess, the camaraderie that we had. And I believed in them. You know, I believed that, you know, they were, for the season that they were in, they were really radical because, and different because you just didn't see it, you know, not in this city and not in this region. And so we were able to connect, able to travel a little bit and go to different places. A lot of when we came together for the homecoming, a lot of memories, you know, started going back. And but they opened up a lot of doors, man, in this city and this region, a lot of the different churches, because a lot of times people didn't really accept Christian hip hop at that time. You know, it was the devil's music, and they didn't want to make the investment. And Bo was a critical piece to that, and you do need to have him, I agree, critical piece, because he gave a high level of production that didn't exist. You know what I'm saying? Even to the day that it has influenced a lot of people. I even, you know, I would say, especially once we got to KA and things of that nature, from the Lecrae's and the Dells and all the others, that his music influence and the style influence. Even to this day, quick note, the whole 1230, you know, ain't 1230 if you're doing here, you know, they still do that chant at KA.
Oh, wow.
Really?
Yes. They still do that chant at KA.
No, that's, you know, like how you said that it was crazy, because the first time I meet Lecrae, he's talking about how, like, you know, man, I used to listen to this, the Other Side mixtape, and he started naming the songs. I'm like, you used to listen to me? It's like, now you're, you know what I'm saying, this guy, but it was DJ Bo, you know what I'm saying, and Bo, man, I'm like, hold up, that tape got all the way out there, you know what I'm saying, like, because you're several states away, but he gets a chance to meet Corey at MTSU, and so it's like, it's crazy.
And I'll say this too, Shay, I think the whole 1230 movement really had an influence on the 116 movement.
Right.
I really believe that. Some kind of influence. You know, without a doubt. So that played a lot of, played a huge role, I believe, in Christian hip hop, underground, you know, and everything. And One Accord really led the way. They opened up a lot of doors for a lot of artists that just took time. I remember when we were trying to get, I'm laughing, we were trying to get to do a show on the secular station, we just were too early. And I met with Bobby OJ, and it just did not resonate with him. He couldn't fathom of having. You mean you want to do church music and rap?
Right.
And it just didn't matter. He didn't get it, and I knew we were just ahead of the game, in terms of that. But major shout out to them, man. They definitely deserve their flowers. Corey Sanders, Reggie Hines, and definitely DJ Derek Bogard.
Now, because I like talking about this, we had Fur on, we had DJ Black on, and so it's like at the time y'all were like trailblazers, you know what I mean? And so kind of paving the way, not only because in anything, any sport, you can look at basketball or whichever sport, it's always those that laid the groundwork that never get any type of recognition. Right. And then you see people like a Lecrae, like an Andy Mineo, like a Triple E.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying? Kind of taking it off, right?
Right.
But then those that, kind of, because in the middle, cause we knew way back then, like, it was almost a sin to put that type of stuff on a pulpit, right?
Oh gosh, yes.
Right.
Yes.
To say the least, right? And so it was like, but you, at the time, it was like a perfect time, you kind of being a visionary and kind of seeing it, but then to try to convince others that, you know what I'm saying? Like, no, this is going to be the way. We need to, to do this to, to put the youth now to see what it is now.
Yeah.
Youth groups like Lecrae and them, like they do what's it called, Winter Jam. Winter Jam is like the big white evangelical event to where millions of people, you know, kind of do their thing now. And so, how was it growing up in that? Not growing up, but being in that time and kind of fighting that fight.
Oh, wow.
Like, what was that? Because you was how old then? Like, maybe 23?
I got 23, 24. Yeah.
So, growing up may be accurate. So,
I was a young adult.
So, what was it like?
Oh, man. Locally, just trying to open the door, man. It was, we'd have I'm laughing because I'm thinking about you're trying to get the name out there and outside. And shout out to Breath of Life, Pastor Holloway and everybody, because that was the base for us. And so you had that, but that was just an anomaly. Yeah. Because once you got out those doors, it didn't resonate with them. And so, man, we would do everything from block parties, going to different events, just getting out there, mostly secular at the time, because we couldn't get into the church doors. So if they have festivals, events, and stuff like that, we would do that. And I remember one time we were over in West Memphis and had talked with this guy, and long story short, he talked about we wanted the rider, what's the setup and everything. Like, oh, we got you. Don't worry about it. We got to take care of. We got over there. They didn't even have a sound system, man. All they had was a boom box.
Yeah.
And they said, well, we could just get your tape and put it up to the microphone up to the box. And we said, no, we ain't doing that because it's not going to be effective. Right. And so you would see that, or churches, they wanted to kind of put them in a box, so to speak. And with Christian hip hop, y'all know this, is that you're kind of in between. You're not hard enough for secular, and then you're too hard for the church. And you're too hard for the church.
You a niche of a niche,
right? Exactly,
pretty much,
exactly. And so, having Lecrae, who was here for a few years, and I kind of had an opportunity to work with him a little bit indirectly, with ministry and things of that nature. He was here and kind of got a chance to really see firsthand what the music scene was like here.
Now, just from your perspective, I know even Shay, because he's, one of the, pioneers, I think,
absolutely,
of, Memphis, you call CHH.
I'm like little brother, I'm not,
or whatever.
We put you
in the middle of the first generation.
Yeah,
and so
you are an integral part of that.
What does it look like now to see where Christian hip hop is now and be like, from where y'all were? You know what I mean? Because now it's a whole lot of money into it.
Right.
We seen people that they say, I'm not going to do secular. I'm just going to get into Christian hip hop because I see the money trail.
Oh yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And so now to be like, is it like a part of you to be like see, like, you know what I mean? Like it was, it's always hindsight when you look back and you seeing like the opportunities that they have now. when you see like the old NBA players like
Right.
Charles Barkley, George Gervin.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? They didn't get to capitalize on the
Sure.
money
Right.
like the players do now. A
Right.
lot of the players from the old days, 60s and 70s, are broke.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because now, but they laid the groundwork.
Right.
And so,
Right.
do you get any satisfaction of like knowing that you played either some type of role
Mm-hmm.
into where the whole genre is now?
Yeah. Well, first of all, I always say it was all for the glory of God. You know
Correct,
what I'm
yeah.
saying? So, and that's not to sound super spiritual, but just the fact that we were trying to hopefully impact the lives of young people and people who would not step foot in a church.
Yeah.
I think one thing is important to realize: there's always a evolution of whether it's in sports, music, or whatever. Those that lay the groundwork, of course, they're the ones that kind of started those things. But where the state of hip hop is, or Christian hip hop is now, I'm excited. I'm happy. My children are byproducts of that. They don't really listen to a lot of secular music, right? The most they listen to is like we listen to old school music. That's
Right.
about it. But like these new artists and all of that, they're not into it. And I'm thankful that I had some role in that,
Yeah.
in helping them to see that. And so whether you see a Lecrae or you see what's the guy from California that's big, Miles somebody,
Minnick?
yeah.
Yep.
These guys are making really good money, and
They are,
I'm happy
yeah.
for them. My only concern, like anything, is make sure you stay true to who you're worshiping, what you're doing.
Yeah.
Because at the same time, the world sees that as, oh, this is an opportunity, this is the next best thing.
Corporate.
Corporate. And the same thing they did with gospel music.
Yeah.
CCM.
CCM.
Yeah, and all of that.
Yeah,
That these secular labels, buy them up, and then you start compromising and changing. So, I think that's part of it.
I think that's part of what happened. Well, I think even Lecrae, he admits it now, because there was one time that he ventured off and got on Columbia. I think when he got that #1 album, and so then he went to Columbia, and so now I remember on the Reach Records website they had a whole agenda about 116. We're Christian. That they took that off.
Took it off, yeah.
And made it more corporate to make it more.
116 actually means
Right.
Yeah.
And made it a little bit more inclusive, right? And so that's where a lot of stuff, that's where him and Sho Baraka kind of went separate ways.
Actually, though, that's and I don't know if you remember, we had this conversation. That was what my disappointment was, but because before that deal, they had an issue because Sho Baraka was wanting to just say, like, as a believer, I need to be able to do a love song about my wife. It's not necessarily a,
Christian
First
song.
John 3, whatever says, like, no, I just want to talk about.
And that joint was hard. And I
love my
forgot
wife.
what it was called, but
And
it was
and they had a follow, like, or if I want to talk about politics, I need to be able to talk about it, and not necessarily, have a Revelations 3, I just need to be able to express that, and that's where they fell out. And then fast forward to a couple of years later,
he ended up doing
now
the same
you're doing
thing.
the same thing that you're falling out with this person. For me, now if I'm just strictly dealing in my human emotions, it's a lot of niggas that owe me money.
Right.
That aside,
We know that. Yeah.
that aside,
Right.
that's not why I was doing it.
Right.
He didn't vouch for me because he thought that and he vouched for me with everybody. But he vouched for me with everybody because he knew where my heart was.
Right.
He knew that I wasn't for sale. He knew that if it came down to principle and morals, I was going to always rock that way.
Yeah.
And like I said, I lost record deals doing that. I lost opportunities doing that. There's a lot of doors that got slammed in my face because they knew if it come down to it, I'm not going to shortcut.
Yeah.
And through them, the professionalism. I got the professionalism from Mike. You know what I'm saying? Like now to being a master of the craft and constantly record it again. Like I got that from Bo. Like I told you, Corey was the one. Oh, you think you think you fly now? You think you did something? Like my stage presence I got from Corey, and of course Black was like, if he think you got a bar, then you got a bar. If he just kind of, So for me, when I look at an MKJ, when I look at a Fro, and MKJ is a more direct, thing.
Yeah.
I don't feel, man, I'm happy. I'm rooting I'm rooting Fro on.
Titan.
You know what I'm saying? Titan enough.
Yeah.
Titan is more a little bit closer than Fro, but not as much as MKJ.
But that's your twin. That's what
right.
Ty your twin, bro.
But those guys, when I see that, what irks me though, and where I am the old man, get off my lawn, is where I see a lot of these people. You hadn't put the work in. You don't have the work ethic. You don't. If you're doing this, you don't have the lifestyle.
Right.
Because when we were doing it, it was a lot of dudes. It's like, you're not really good enough to do secular, so you're going to do gospel, but you're mad that you're not getting.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And so, like, and you saw this, like, Black was good enough to do secular. You know what I'm saying? Like, I was good enough to do secular. It's just, when we did it, it wasn't because we weren't good enough to do secular.
Right.
That's where the heart and the passion was, and that's why we were doing it. And so it's still a lot of cats that, like, you know, you're not good enough to do secular, so you're over here trying to do that.
Right.
And it's for those cats that I'm kind of disappointed in, because you can be.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You still live with your parents. You ain't got a lot of overheads. You ain't got a lot of bills. It ain't no reason why you shouldn't be that guy.
Right.
This is all you should be doing.
Right. And one of the things, shout out to MKJ too, by the way. Congratulations, brother.
Doing the grill since halftime.
Yeah, that's when I saw that.
I saw that
and one of the things I appreciate about him, I always, if I'm texting him or it's on Facebook, he always tells me, thanks for everything.
Right.
And that always means a lot to me.
Yeah.
Whatever that is for him.
Right.
You know, whether it's opportunities or whatever it was when we were working together with him. So shout out to you, man. And we're excited. I hope to make that game too.
Yeah, I was thinking about going too. But one thing about MK, he don't forget where he come from.
That's right.
And he gonna give you
At all.
props.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's people who know who I am because he's like,
Right.
man, hey, if it wasn't, man, shout out to Roy, shout out to Alpha Lee, like,
Yes.
Yeah.
and
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying, like that. But giving credit to where credit is due.
Right.
So now you talked about. So now we got into the managerial thing. So now, of course, you're doing the streets ministries. You're working with the youth and doing that. Talk to us about the soul, because you alluded to it earlier. Talk to us about the Soul Factory.
Soul Factory.
How did that? What was, I guess, the brain behind that?
Yeah.
And how did that get started?
So, so I started working with young people, of course, and we were big on camps, Young Life, streets, all that kind of stuff, right? But it was like, what do we do between the times of going to camp?
Right.
And we would have an outreach club that we would do, you know, at streets and things of that nature for South Memphis kids, right? But then I'm talking to other youth leaders, and they're like, we don't have anything to do. I mean, there's nowhere we can go. And so I had an opportunity to meet Steve Noblet. Shout out to Steve Noblet, who was the pastor of Covenant Community Church. And they actually had a in their basement, a stage and everything that they used to do Christian rock called Club 702. And Ken, what's Ken's last name? Storts, who led that, who was also a member of Skillet, the Christian rock group, who's also now the president of Visible Music College. And real good dude. But anyway, we were talking about how can we reach the community, and the Lord just dropped this thing in my spirit about Soul Factory, and that we could have a place for hip hop, Christian hip hop for kids and for people in general. And so it took off, man. And we tested it out a little bit. We first actually had our first Soul Factory wasn't there. I don't know if you remember this, but it's Steaks and More.
Yep.
It's Steaks and More restaurant. And what was funny about it, we had this room back in the back. We were trying to do it, and Tony was being so nice to allow us to do it. But the reality was, it was just too much that they couldn't handle for us. And so we had to find another venue. And so we had the venue there at Covenant Community. And we met monthly. It was either was it third Friday?
Yeah, no, it was either
the first Friday.
It was either the first Friday or the last Friday.
Or the last Friday. Yeah. And so, man, that thing was pretty consistent. We did it for several years. And
I want to say at the peak of it, I know it was happening at least twice a month.
Was it? Wow.
At the peak of it.
Was it
because,
twice a month? Okay.
You got to remember, like, for us, that was like, I don't want to say our Super Bowl, but like that was like how we got. So we knew we were performing.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And I know it was at least twice a month.
Yeah.
Keep in mind, at the time, we ain't had nothing but like 6 songs. But like,
right. But
we would cycle through the
rotation.
We would mix them up.
Yeah.
New but
Genesis,
at the peak of it, I know it was at least twice a month.
Okay.
And I want to say, I think it might have moved to like the second and fourth. So it was just like, it was either first and third or the second and fourth. So it was like alternating.
but yeah, so it was great. And it was opportunity. We never had any incidents, man. Kids from North Memphis, South Memphis, Scudderfield, Orange Mound, Westwood. We never had an incident, and it was because it was people felt it was a safe place, and that God just moved, man. We not only did rap, we had all kinds of spoken word.
Toya used to sing
You know,
there.
yeah, a lot of different things. Just again to have a place
Yeah.
for Christian people to come to, and we had a couple times because of Reggie. Reggie was able to help leverage. We got the gospel gangsters came and performed.
Gospel gangsters.
Yeah, and rest in peace Solo and all of that. But yeah, man, we had a good run.
Remember our guys from Alabama.
Yeah, Daniel West.
Yeah, Daniel West, Wiz.
Yeah, Wiz.
Age. Like,
And they did a spinoff. Here's a side note. They did a spinoff in Huntsville.
Okay.
And they called it Soul Asylum.
Right.
And so we had an opportunity to go and support them and help them do that for a minute. So we had a good run during that time. I'm very excited and proud of that time.
It's good to hear about that stuff because now, again, you hear with Keenan, like, to me, during that time, my dad has kind of his own ministry. And so, you know what I'm saying, I wasn't even kind of with them.
Yeah.
So I didn't really get to experience the Soul Factory like that. But I heard about it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
'Cause,
All
yeah,
the
you
time.
was like, well, I mean, that was.
I was around, but I really wasn't
Yeah.
around because my dad had that around that time
Yeah.
that it was.
Yeah.
But I heard about it and I heard
Yeah.
the impact, especially from Keenan.
Yeah.
He always used to tell me
Yeah.
how much of an
man.
impact you and the Soul Factory was. Like it was like what Shay said, like the Super Bowl. Like it was like the highlight of the month, right? It was the thing we're doing.
He was doing his thing, man. We just showed up and man, just giving people opportunity to showcase their gifts and know that they could do it in a setting like that. We had a few nice stories and write-ups about it, and it was a good time, man. We had a good run.
So now, we talked about this when Black was on here.
Okay.
And you're the one you're the orchestrator of this. So again, people think I'd just be making stuff up.
Okay.
Other side productions used to have a studio on Poplar.
Yeah, we did.
In the old Powertel building.
Yep, we sure did.
And so I believe it was either Monday or Tuesday night. Now, it might have been Tuesday night because Monday night y'all would be at the church, so it might have been Tuesday night.
Okay.
But every week on Tuesday night, they would have prayer.
Yep.
At the old Powertel building.
Yep.
And so now, me being me, like I'm now hanging around recording Reggie a lot.
Yep.
On a more personal level, I want to record, but you can't. If y'all want to record, y'all got to come in here and be a part of prayer.
Yep. That's right.
So sometimes it'd be me and DJ and Eric. Sometimes it'd be just me and DJ or me and Eric. Or, Percy was there a couple of times. You know what I'm saying? Like Keenan would be in there. So, a very prominent figure in the Memphis, I guess, gospel rap community at the time was not doing gospel. Was talking about considering, I guess, doing gospel. Had been praying or whatever.
Right.
And prior to, I don't know all of what led up to that, but prior to that, I do remember weekly for about 6-7 months every week, y'all had this person's name up and they were praying for this person. If we was to play the song, everybody know the song.
Yeah, that's true. I forgot about that. You're right.
And so again, when I say, these guys were before you were even thinking about it.
Yeah.
They had this man's name up because they was like, God is gonna do something great with this person.
Yeah.
What was, and I don't want to focus too much on that, but what was because that was something different.
Yeah.
Like, what had you guys doing that?
So it's funny you mentioned it, man. Shay, you're bringing out the good questions.
He got a photographic memory, man.
So actually, we did One Accord. We did a concert. Mini concert was sponsored by the city. It was One Accord. At that time, that particular individual with the group that he was with, and Nakia Shine.
Kia Shine.
Kinfolk. Who also used to go to Brother Light, by the way.
Right. And so we got a chance to talk with that individual a little bit. And I don't know, it was this Spirit of God's like, man, we need to pray for him, man. And we were just chopping it up with him and kind of talking a little bit. And you could tell he was kind of like a fish out of water where he was. Even though that particular song, y'all remember that song that was really popular at that time with the letters, was really popular, right? And but you could tell that something was going on with him, and so we was like, man, we need to pray for this dude, man. We need to pray for him because God is doing something with him. But we were at a secular event. This wasn't a church event, and it was sponsored by the city at the Cook Convention Center. I can see it now, and it was like, wow. And so we just felt led to do it, and so that's where that came from. And yeah,
I mean, in the show, you can't escape from what you grew up in. Like, don't get it twisted. Being that we just had the convocation and everything, like, you know, you grew up in that. You know what I'm saying? So, like, it may not be in you, but whatever the seed is eventually going to grow.
oh yeah,
So, like how you said, the fish out of water part of it is, it's like, because in reality, you're trying to avoid this part of you, but that's who you really are.
right, for sure,
And so you're uncomfortable over here because the real you
right,
is that person.
Right.
Because you grew up, like, your mom is an evangelist with, this particular denomination. You know what I'm saying? And a known speaker and everything like that. And so you're essentially JB, you're essentially Roche, you're essentially, Darrell, you're essentially T or, Mikey. You know what I'm saying? Like you grow up in this thing, but you're over here. And so that was something that y'all were doing.
Yeah.
Back then.
Yeah, for sure.
Talk about when you became so what was it like? So now you go from high school football star, college football player, manager, outreach, over and outreach, promoting and endorsing this event that takes place monthly. Now you're the youth pastor at, I'm not going to say one of the largest, but probably one of the most respected black churches in the city, state,
without
even
a doubt.
the region.
Yeah, without a doubt.
And now here you are. You got the juice now.
Got the juice.
What was that like?
Well, number one, just humbled. You never, it was God's doing. It wasn't something that I was searching for or trying to jock anybody for or position myself for. Ton of respect for the ministry and Pastor Holloway and staff. It was really good to catch up with them too there at the home going. But knowing the responsibility, the weight of that was really important to me. Seeing the foundation that was laid by those that were before me, I felt that weight of responsibility, and having the opportunity to really come back to the area that I grew up in too was very important. And so we were just, trying to really continue and hopefully take it to another level in terms of ministry and ministering to young people, in the community and, representing the Lord. We got involved in a lot of different things, as being there in school outreach and doing different things to get kids to come, and the summer jams, which became Blaze,
right.
And working with the Joseph Jennings and things of that nature was a really important time for me. And but I was just blessed to be a part of something special there with U-Turn and everything.
Yeah, and stuff like that. I put a post up, I think a couple of days ago. I was talking about, I don't know what I think I was talking about dead churches or thriving churches, right?
Yeah,
and so I don't think a lot of people take into account. They look at the main person, which is the head pastor or whatever, that obviously preaching the word. But then I think any thriving church or has a great youth ministry. Yeah. Right. And so it's like, for me, I think this was a long time ago. Yeah. I think it was honoring Pastor Hall.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
And so and they had me to come up there and say something on their behalf. And I told, doing that little thing I said, I was like, I thought this was his church. Yes. You know what I'm saying? Just from my being around, right?
Special shout out to
you know
Pastor
what I mean?
Hall,
So
doubt.
Pastor Hall and people like yourself, like I don't think get enough credit because in order for a church to really, for me to have that oil on it, you gotta have a thriving, youth ministry that people are excited about. And so, to me, what made Breath really in its prime, when it was really thriving, we know Doc was giving the word,
Right,
was
for sure.
giving that all on that. But the unsung hero, I believe, is the youth ministry that really brought kids that would never go to Breath
Yeah.
because of people like yourself,
be
people like
excited to-
Corey.
right.
Yeah.
You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
for
Because
sure.
you had an outlet, you felt relatable, you felt wanted, you know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? And so
Yeah.
I just do want to give a shout out to you and others in that
Yeah.
aspect, because just for me, Breath would not have been Breath without the thriving youth ministry. And then it just kept going on and on from, then to somebody like a MKJ. MKJ is kind of like a
Yeah.
in-betweenish. Like, he's from the old cloth,
Yeah.
but then he's kind of still of the new.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And so that bridges kind of both of y'all gaps
Yeah.
with that. And so
Yeah.
I just wanted to really say that,
Without a
because
doubt.
I think the youth ministries with any church, I believe,
Yeah.
plays a big part in how, you know what I'm saying, it's
Absolutely.
See, you
it's
know what,
looked at.
JB, like, what, and I'm glad you said that, because, like, and again, your pops don't get enough credit.
Yeah.
He was glue in a lot of areas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I'm
sure.
saying? That gets glossed over. So if you don't
Yeah.
know, like how we good for saying, if you know, you know.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like that.
Yeah.
That's stealing from Tony Rock, but like that's one of the blackest statements. That if you know, you know. Like he had a
Right.
thing where he said like that. Like that's the blackest thing you can say. Oh, I mess with him, but not like that. Like
Right.
all black people get it. You know what I'm
Right,
saying?
right,
But
right,
like,
right.
so like, he's so crucial because
Yeah.
he was on the front line. Nobody else had a rap group. Now, ain't no church in Memphis that don't have one.
No.
We was the first one.
Yeah.
You
for
know what I'm
sure.
saying? Like, but he was on the front line of that. He helped
Yeah.
orchestrate that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right? Like a lot of these, and like I said, I got a chance when I went to Memphis Bible Institute, which was at Christ the Rock, and we were accredited through Oral Roberts University
Yeah.
at the time. Like, when I was taking my children's ministry class, they said, "Oh, you went to Breath of Life? Oh, you don't even have to take this class."
Yeah.
We orchestrated our whole youth ministry from Breath of Life. People from Breath of Life came over and showed us,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? And so, like,
Yeah.
again, he was doing stuff, and you talked about how important it is for the youth ministry. I don't know of too many churches right now. We were in Raleigh, Egypt.
Yeah.
You know, where I graduated from. We were in Craigmont. You know,
Tresvant.
and we had a day, right?
Yeah.
We were in Tresvant. And so every school had a day.
Yeah.
You know, and I know at least 3 of them, were we in Fraser too?
Not so
Not as much,
a
but
little
but
bit,
that was where we basically were where a bulk of the kids went
Yeah.
that were in the area.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
because the church was in Raleigh,
Yeah.
in Raleigh Fraser, our kids went to Raleigh, Egypt, Craigmont, and then you had Tresvant and Fraser.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so now again, of course for me, like, you know, I'm from South Memphis anyway.
Right.
But growing up in Raleigh too, this ain't no thing for me.
Right.
But like Eric, you know what I'm saying? Eric is like, oh, and you know, so like he with me, so it's like, oh, we
Yeah.
good. But like,
Yeah.
you know, again, we're in these schools, and you know, Eric is like a fish out of water because,
Yeah.
you know, he Christian brother, so he
Yeah.
don't know.
He was
but
part
like
of the brothers.
right, and then it got to a point to where initially we would go, but then he would just, I'm sending y'all out.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And so, but he was doing something, and at the time, he had the freedom and the leeway to do
Yeah.
something that a lot of ministries still aren't doing.
Yeah.
And how you talked about Breath thriving, and this is just
heyday.
some brother people gonna get mad at
It
me.
is what it is, man.
When Breath was on holiness, we started to ascend. And at some point, we as a church and as a people, we got on this money cometh to me now. We got on this name it and claim it, blab it and grab it. And so guess what? People did started getting things. We were big on the prayer Jabez. You know what I'm saying? And we started getting stuff. But you know what started happening? People started losing their kids.
Yeah. I think
Marriages started falling
yeah,
apart.
I think getting back to the original thing,
Yeah.
we were able to really build relationships with the schools and the community that were there. And I'll say this, it was an adjustment period for the church because there were certain people that came to the church that we weren't ready for at the time.
Right.
But we were able to pivot, at that time. And so, I think one of the things you always try to keep the main thing the main thing. And I'll leave it at that on that end. But just in terms of, that time, that the tenure that I was there, and again, shout out to Pastor Slaughter and Lachelle Robinson, even before that.
Oh yeah, that's big sister.
Yeah, that they laid the foundation, and of course, me passing the baton to Corey, and going forward, we all laid a brick, to the foundation. So
Corey tried to pass to me, but we ain't gonna talk about that right now.
Yeah.
I didn't know
That's a whole nother thing.
Really,
But
now,
we about to shut down soon.
Yeah,
I know
but now,
we-
I mean, like, man, to your point, JB, like, I think in order for that ministry to be back thriving again, it's got to go back to what the initial vision was, which is bringing back the bell of holiness. And when you do that, then you know what? If we got all these people paying tithes and offerings, I don't need you having another job. I need you. I need you in the community. I need you doing what you're doing.
Right. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
If I got to take a pay cut so I can have you doing this, because guess what? If you got more people, then there's more people doing it, and we can have more. It's no reason why a Jamal Brown or Prince Brown should have got away. It's no reason why Rod Loggins or James Fields or Terrence Burton should have got away. You know what I'm saying? Like, because there's so much stuff out there.
Corey Sanders.
Or Corey, you see what I'm saying? But generally what it boils down to
Don't get me
is
started.
if I have to go get another job to go do what I'm doing, but we're bringing in a lot, you see what I'm saying? But now you want me to be this theologian. You want me to know the word front and back, but I don't have time to study like I need to pray like I need to, because I gotta go to FedEx.
You gotta go to work.
You see what I'm saying? I gotta go punch this clock. And so again, when you got good people like this and people that you invested in, they invested in him. They invested in you. You see what I'm saying? Like, when you do that, you got to protect your investment.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And so fortunately, and I rejoice and I'm excited because you got people like MKJ.
Definitely.
You got, I mean,
Rich.
Hey, I give him his credit. You know, I never, if you would have told me when Anthony was the manager of the janitorial department that Anthony would be up preaching, like, I would have laughed. But I got to give him his props, because he ain't just up there. You could say, like, oh, well, he's mad, but he coming with the word.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, and then you look at it like Pastor King. That's somebody who was invested in, but you look at him now, look at the fruit.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And so I get excited when I see people like that. And even Pastor Mike, and as JB said, I know the time is far spent. Like, what are you doing right now?
Yeah. So currently, what I do, I work with an organization called Families Matter. It's a ministry for families. And what we do is work specifically with fathers. And it gives us an opportunity to remove whatever barriers that may be there between fathers and children. And I've done that for the last couple of years. And I enjoy it, because it gives us an opportunity to bring, as we talked about, the family back together.
Yeah.
And so we get to empower guys, fathers who didn't know what it meant to be a father, what it means to be a father, giving them the tools and the resources that they need in order to be the best fathers that they can be. And so I enjoy it. I love what I do in this season in my life. Also, too, I do a little bit more training and leadership and consulting as well. I'm doing a lot more of that, developing, trying to get the next generation ready.
Right.
And so doing that, helping with other organizations, both secular and Christian as well. So I enjoy the space that I'm in right now, man. Yeah.
Well, that's
And
good.
you just recently did a message at Innovation, right?
Yeah, I'm a member of their Innovation. Shout out Myron Thomas, and work closely with them and enjoy that as well. So God is good, and I'm just thankful for just the different seasons of life that He allows us the journey.
Yeah.
And that's the thing about anything, man, is appreciate the journey. It's never about a destination; it's about the journey,
Right.
and knowing where God has you along in that journey.
Yeah, that's the key, man. Because like people like yourself and others that we're gonna have on. We talking about AK and
we definitely got to get DJ Bo on.
Yeah, DJ Bo and stuff. And so it's refreshing to hear. I like to go down memory lane and just kind of put pieces together.
Yeah.
To see how certain things the foundation was laid, and you kind of see how it is now, or you see where things were at, at a certain point, and where, maybe certain things went wrong and certain things kind of fell off the track, and see where, kind of where all that started. But it was definitely an honor to have you on.
Oh, man.
You know what I'm saying? To have you.
My honor to be on.
Tell the story. Like I said, you said quite a few things that I didn't necessarily know, as far as like the football stuff, kind of how you started, where you were born at and stuff like that. And so it's good to see that and connect the dots to see even where you are now. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? You still doing that same thing. Yeah. Just in a different capacity. Right. So it's a beautiful thing, man.
And we definitely I know you probably shout out to the Preacher Man podcast, but I know definitely he's probably gonna be definitely in on that.
I definitely get it back at some point.
Man, like we definitely got to have you back because it's so much more. Yeah. Like, and again, I might be like the Google reference, you know what I'm saying? But like,
man, you pulled some stuff tonight, man. I had not thought about it.
Yeah, but like he's definitely an encyclopedia because like, as they say in the mouth, like he know where the bodies are buried at, you know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, but I say that in a way of like, man, he has so much stuff that he's. Because we didn't even tap into like the work you've done with like Memphis Leadership Foundation.
Oh yeah, we sure didn't get into that.
Just like all the different, you know what I'm saying? Like just, I mean, even in working with like the youth and youth, like it's so many conversations. Yeah. Man, that he got in them. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And there's a lot to get into one conversation. So we got to have you back.
Well, again, man, I appreciate what you all are doing. I want to give a shout out to you all. I love this platform. I definitely try to catch it when I'm able to, and I appreciate the reels and things that you're doing as well, man. And I just want to encourage you all to be who you are in this season, in this journey. One of the things that's important, and I've learned, is that we can't wait for people to come to us, right? And that's the traditional mindset, like we were talking about. And so we have to use platforms like this in order to go out there and reach people. And so I just want to continue to encourage you guys, man. Keep using your gift for the glory of God, man, and speaking what you feel like the Lord has placed in your heart to share and to say as well. And so you guys are doing a great job. Continue to be great husbands and great fathers and great leaders, man.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We appreciate you. Yeah, continue to be a visionary, man. Like, all the stuff that you're doing and been doing, and the encouragement that, you get every now and again when we do cross each other's path is needed and it's there. You know what I'm saying? 'Cause we in the thick of things. And like he said, he surpassed me and kids within what?
Man,
about like 2 years. You know what I'm saying?
God.
So all the wisdom and stuff that you have, man, we would definitely be needing that, and we appreciate it, man.
Well, man, I thank you, man. Anytime I ever called you, man, if you don't answer, you calling back. So I just want to say thank you for that.
Without a doubt, always, and that's for you too, man. Yeah, always know that.
I got your contact.
Yeah, so we got contact. And I'll say this, man, your dads, I admire them so much, and I appreciate the work that your dad did, and he encouraged me in a lot of different ways. We actually got a chance to work on. I'll tell you this quick story. I know we're recording, but he used to do, you remember, he did the opening for Pastor Holloway. Do you remember that on the radio show?
Mm-hmm.
So I worked with him to do that because I used to do the radio ministry for Breath of Life.
Really? Yeah. Okay, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a whole nother thing.
Yeah, no, I remember because like when I used to ride in the car with my dad, like,
that's crazy.
We go to this church on Sunday and Wednesday. Like, why are we listening to this?
The voice.
That was the intro. Yeah, your dad was the intro, and I didn't realize that until I know your voice from somewhere. Like, but he was the intro at the time.
James Earl Jones.
Yeah, it was an AM station.
It was AM.
Yeah, it was
an AM station.
I had to do all that. Send the tapes out. Go to the station and take them out there and all that stuff.
Yeah, Lee. I didn't know you. Okay.
Oh yeah.
I didn't know that, man.
I told you know where the bodies are buried.
I know. As a youth pastor, those slash and whatever duties needed to be done.
Everything else in between.
Yeah. So. Yeah. And shout out to your pops as well, man. I always say, man, he's always has a great love for what he does and for us as well, man. So.
No, I did tell. I told him I had beef with him because I'm like, nah. you work with this dude first and you ain't say nothing. I said, I ain't know nothing until I run into Mike at the thing, and then Mike tell me everything I need to know, and then he started laughing. I'm like, that ain't funny. Oh, I wanted you to find out for you. He said, no, I don't want to find out by myself.
Yeah.
Let me know what I'm walking into.
Yeah.
I'm like, Mike let me know what I was dealing with.
Oh yeah. That was funny. I had.
Oh, I wish you could have saw his face, JB.
Oh yeah.
It was like the nigga speech you gave. He gonna have
Christian.
to tell you that story.
Yeah.
He gave Michael Christian the nigga speech. It's
Okay.
like the most hilarious speech ever.
He needed.
But it was kind of the equivalent to that, JB. Like,
Oh, word?
yeah, no, because he walked up, he was like, oh, he did the Stevie J sorrow. I ain't know this who you was working with, Shay. You should have told me.
Yeah.
I would have told you how crooked he was
Yeah.
in front of him.
Yeah.
And I'm looking like,
That's what it needed.
he just say that, and he was like, oh, Mikey. But he's like, he said, no, don't play. He's like, we don't play like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was like, you know what it is.
Yeah.
And he said, Shay, if you got any questions or anything, call me. I
Come
got
to
you.
me. Yeah.
Yeah.
But then he said, hey, but you know what, though? You did make a good choice right here, because him, oh, he's straight. I can vouch for him. And he said, you know my word. He said, he's straight. Oh, he good? Yeah, he good.
Yeah.
But like I said, after that, it was over. They had a target on the back.
Yeah.
He ain't like that.
Yeah. That dude's something else. Man.
Yeah. But y'all, until next time, continue with that executive mindset.
And most definitely keep it presidential.
Salute.
Arrivederci.